Mute. All right, how about now?
All right, perfect.
Fantastic. All right, thank you so much. Well, welcome, everybody. My name is Mr. Kuchelski. I have a little PowerPoint here that I'll share with everybody. Yes, and present. Thank you. All right, so welcome. This is a little piece here on high school teacher expectations. I've gone about and asked a number of our teachers as well, a couple items, and they've provided some good feedback here. So this isn't just me, this is from another of other teachers as well here. So to get started, again, my name is Mr. Andrew Kuchelski. I'm a 2002 grad of Brother Rice, and I find that to be helpful, I think, in my experience working with the boys, because I've walked their path. I've been in their shoes. I kind of have an idea kind of where they're coming from in the 8th grade years, particularly with regard to the public school kids. As I'm a public school K through 8 guy, came to Brother Rice from Walled Lake schools. Commerce and Union Lake was my main crossroads, my main drag. Didn't really know many people here when I started as a freshman, and I have to say that by the time I graduated from Brother Rice, I wouldn't have wanted to go anywhere else. And so much so that I graduated in 2002, and I was back here teaching by 2007. I've been here ever since. So I've really enjoyed my time here at Brother Rice. I know this place is special, and I hope to pass along that energy that I have for the school to our students that we have here. I am the Spanish teacher. I've done all the Spanish courses from Spanish 1 through now I have the 3s, 4 honors in the AP course. So what's nice, I'm in an interesting time right now that I get to see the boys from freshman year grow up into their junior and senior year. And so some of that, what I see in my reflection on that, I hope will be presented here in my little presentation. I wanted to share first kind of the mission statement of our school, because I think a lot of what we do pulls from the mission statement. And so we say here that Brother Rice is a Catholic college prep school for young men. And to be college prep, I think carries some weight with it, much differently than perhaps some other schools. Inspired by the essential elements of a Christian brother education, the school fosters the spiritual, intellectual, cultural, and physical development of its students. And I think we do all of that really, really well. How that gets incorporated is, I mean, gosh, it's a whole another presentation I could give. But the Brother Rice community promotes excellence through an environment conducive to lifelong personal growth, responsible moral choices, and critical thinking. That when the student graduates from here, that they're going to have like a toolkit, we can almost say, of skills that they've taken from Brother Rice and move that into, we'll say, the real world, into the university studies. And even now, I mean, myself, I take a lot of what I experienced in the high school setting, and I live that now in my life. So we know these boys are going to walk this path of Edmund along with us. But the question becomes, when, right? When do they get to do this? And for some students, it goes quicker than others. I've seen freshmen who, right out of the get-go, like the first month almost, they pick it up pretty quick, about what Brother Rice is and what it means, and all the stuff that kind of goes along with it. I've seen students over the past, in their 4 years that they've been here, kind of struggle with this, have a hard time with this. But what I do realize and what I do recognize is that when they come back and visit us as alums, they've figured it out. That they can say, I wasn't ready for Brother Rice maybe when I was here for 4 years, but I took what I was taught, and I take that, and I can now experience that in the college world, in my real life setting. So maybe it doesn't happen right away at Brother Rice, and sure, that's a struggle we have with, parents during parents-teacher conference night and stuff. How can my son live up to the standards? And we can offer, different ways and stuff, but it happens naturally. It happens organically. We try and help them along the way. But, sometimes, again, students on his own path, doing his own thing. But by the time college and life comes around, I think that most of our students figure it out, whatever that may be. So as expectations, I think one thing that really drives us, not only is the mission statement, the essential elements, but most recently that we've had now working with our pillars of Brother Rice, knowing our pillars of respect, integrity, character, and excellence. That's one thing that we talk about in class. It's one thing we talk about in our mentor groups. It's really something that we can really stick to. And so if a student knows respect, integrity, character, and excellence, okay, if he understands just those focus points, then it's our job as teachers, as faculty and staff to talk about what that all means. And right now in our mentor group this year, we're talking about the aspect of respect. But as the student graduates, as he moves through his years, he will have a good understanding, a great understanding of what it is to be a respectful man, a man of integrity, a man of character, and a man of excellence. I like this one, coming out of the middle school. And again, I reflect on my own middle school experience coming to Brother Rice as well. And I think I see a lot of this in our boys currently. They're not always going to get an A. I loved my math class in middle school because I did. My 8th grade math class, I got all A's. I loved it. And then I came here to Brother Rice and I struggled mightily. So that was an adjustment. Understanding that the workload will be heavier, that the 5 or 6 classes that a student will be enrolled in, he's going to have homework most nights. And that homework could be anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. And that's, again, pretty standard amongst the classes here. The expectations will be higher. Not only is he going to complete the homework, but he's going to study and then perform well on assessments, prepare well for presentations. And then, so again, my own experience coming from the Wall Lake schools, I was definitely driving farther. It was a bike ride to middle school. It was a 45-minute car ride to Brother Rice. And so the big thing with my parents was making sure we could get here on time. And that was tough for 2 working parents, trying to adjust our schedules. But we start at 7:50 when the bell rings. And if you're here late, get a late pass. That's our expectation as we roll along. Talk about the student athlete. I really enjoy this piece. One, because we do have a lot of student athletes in the building that go off and do great things, go off to wonderful schools and to compete at, perhaps the highest level that they might be able to in the collegiate level. These boys come in as 9th graders, have an idea of what they want to do sport-wise, athletic-wise, and they'll go to those goals. But before that, we recognize that God is the most important thing in their lives. Family would come after that. And then what we do here in the building at Brother Rice on a day-to-day basis, and that largely would be academics. Can they, fulfill their academic requirement before fulfilling the athletic requirement? And most do. Most do a very, very good job with that. This was our 2018 group that I see here. A couple guys that stand out to me, like Tito in the middle, came from Allen Park and took Spanish with me, did very well, ended up doing really well here at Brother Rice, is now playing baseball at U of M. Joe Navinos over on the right side was a swimmer. And I'm sure Coach K can relate this. We've had a number of conversations about the schedule of swimmers. We're here at 5:45 in the weight room in the morning. School starts at 7:50. We're in the water again from 3:30 to 5:30. That's 5 days a week, Saturday morning workouts, Saturday competitions. So it's a heavy load. And Jonah went off to, he started at Cincinnati. He's at John Carroll now, doing great work. So it's possible. It's a busy, busy day. A lot of boys get to the weekend will like, need to relax. And doing so, but keeping in mind that they're students first. And just a couple other things that I kind of came up with here and talking with some other faculty.
Yeah, it should be everything in here. Thank you.
Things that I think are useful. Our dress code is enforced. For the public school kid, especially coming from a school where there was no dress code. Having on, on a math day today, a white shirt, Brother Rice tie, khaki pants, a good pair of shoes, that can be a change sometimes, but it is part of our tradition. It's who we are, and we stick to that. Deadlines can be kind of a new thing for incoming students. But we do have teachers that, will follow deadlines. And it's important that the 8th grade student, understands working within a deadline, because it goes back, I think, to our mission statement that we're college prep, that every teacher is going to have different expectations, different styles of doing things. But, particularly with deadlines, we want to stay true to them. I've always joked and laughed with other teachers that, college professors should come to us, Brother Rice, and like shake our hand and give us, all kinds of thanks for the training, you can think of it. And I look at myself more as almost a coach in a way, right? Sure, I'm teaching content to them, but I'm also coaching them in doing academic things, turning stuff in on time, how to, create good presentations and stuff so that when they go off to the next level, they're going to be well prepared. And that's the struggle that, and I say struggle because there's a lot of times with students to get them to do the right thing, but eventually they get there and they come back when they see us in college, in their college years, and say, hey, see, I really appreciated the work that you provided for me. I really feel like I was in a good spot in the college environment. Interpersonal communication with teachers, I think, is a big piece. And this is, having the student advocate for himself. I will be honest, I much more enjoy seeing a student email me and say, hey, Mr. C, I'm having trouble in the class. Can you help me? More so than the parent emailing me and say, hey, Johnny's having a hard time. Can he come talk to you? Of course. But my first comment with Johnny when he comes to see me is say, hey, man, if you've got a problem, let's you and I have the conversation. We're trying to move the student away from the nest and get him to, again, act in that college prep, that kind of university style of communication, right? And it takes a minute. Sometimes I do have to go to the student and say, hey, I see you're struggling. Is there anything you want to talk about? Things we can go over. And more times than not, yeah, there are things to go over. But to let the student begin that conversation, I think is a big piece for us. Our iPads are great. We love the iPads in the language because there's so much digital things we can do. I love putting the students in front of the iPad and exploring the world that they live in, this global world that they're a part of. At the same time, particularly at the freshman level, we give these freshmen these new iPads. They're like, hey, I can play games all day. Okay, calm down. There's some good stuff we can do on the iPad, and there might be times where, you would get to play a game. I know right now in Mentor Group, we're doing Mentor Group competitions through the iPad games. But understanding that not all classes need the iPad, and we have to be careful because they can become a distraction. And so this is kind of where we turn to the parents and say, hey, kind of police your student, ask them, what are you doing in class? Show me on the iPad. And then there's other tips and tricks that we can discuss as well with going through it successfully. And then organization is a big one. So I remember when I first started here, before iPads, you'd have the classic book bag that was just like exploding like a volcano with papers, okay? We don't see that too much anymore because we're trying to move into a digital paperless world. But the one app that they do have is this Notability app, and I can kind of see the Notability app becoming the digital book bag. This is where they get all their files from. So a teacher posts documents in class, and then the student downloads it, annotates it in Notability. What happens, though, is that the students don't do a great job of putting that stuff in folders, digital folders. And so you can imagine, like, again, just like a digital backpack, just put stuff all over the place. And so every so often, what I've done with the freshmen is kind of take a half a day or maybe in a mentor group or something, and just ask them, hey, go through your Notability, organize, label stuff, and put it in good order. So you can, again, as organized as possible to successfully go through this. Because again, with the workload that they're going to get, they're going to get 4 or 5 different assignments, any given day. And to know when their deadlines are, what has to be done with those assignments, and where to put them afterwards is going to be a big piece. We do know that if a student is willing to follow kind of some of these things that I have here, we know that they're going to enjoy their time at Brother Rice. Okay, and that's, I think, a big thing is that when they leave, did you enjoy your time? And a majority of our students will say yes. If the student's willing to learn, try, succeed, fail a couple of times, and I think that's a big piece, that it is through our failures, through the student's failures, that he might recognize, okay, I need to be better here. And again, when that happens, hopefully sooner than later, but through feedback that the teacher's going to give, conversation in class that we would have maybe post an assessment, the student can recognize, okay, I know what I need to do to be better next time. And like I said, in most cases, we find that happening. If the student's willing to study, to be present. And what I mean by being present is that, okay, you had your 8th grade year, you had your 7th grade year, that's fine. I'm interested in what you can do now. Right? I've got these aspirations and big lofty goals to do this, that, and play this sport and whatever. It's fine. Take care of what needs to happen right now. And if you can take care of that, the future will be as predicted. If the student's willing to focus, change, right? The student that we're going to get as a freshman is not going to be the same student you're going to get as a senior, right? They're going to adapt, they're going to change, they're going to evolve, and that's a wonderful thing to see. Dislike certain things, and that's okay. Love what? Love Brother Rice, love their teachers, love their friends, love themselves, and that's kind of a hard piece. Can they love themselves? And hopefully, perhaps through a Kairos retreat, that can be a part where they will recognize that they are loved and they have the capability to love. To be open and to give thanks, right? Can we give thanks for the opportunity, the privilege that we have to be here at Brother Rice? Because not everybody gets that opportunity. And so to take a moment and to, again, be thankful for that. But I think most importantly, if the student is willing to enjoy the best 4 years of their academic career, I think they're going to have a great time. And again, I reflect on my time. Freshman year was, I didn't really know many people. All my friends were back in middle school, or I guess at the new high school. But again, I can say that by the time that I graduated Brother Rice, I wouldn't have wanted to been anywhere else, as evidenced by my return. So that's what I have. As we look over some lovely pictures of my family and small child, I will take any questions that anybody might have, our panelists, or any parent questions.
I have a couple for you,
Yes.
Mr. Skolsky.
Hi.
As a teacher, can you see what is on the iPad when the student's in your class?
Yes, I can. We have a wonderful application called Apple Classroom, and within Apple Classroom, as long as a student is connected to my, within my router area, I guess, he will show up on my iPad and I can see what he's doing. At the end of a class session, when I end the session on the Apple Classroom, I can also get a detailed report of the applications that he spent time in.
I'm just listening to
I do want to try and plan for next month for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh,
That maybe like every Wednesday wear pink.
Oops, are you still there, Mr. C?
Yes,
Okay, sorry.
that's okay. So that's one thing we can do is within the application, yes, I can see exactly what they're doing. We use this particularly for in-class assessments where I need to lock them into one specific app like Schoology. That's one great piece that we have that I use commonly and frequently.
What do you think, in your opinion, what do you think makes Brother Rice different?